And hello, we're back. This is the Labor Forum. I do want to let people know, I forgot to say hello to Calvin Ivy. So there are three of us who are part of the Labor Forum team. Calvin Ivy, who is our engineer, retired truck driver, Paul McLennan, myself, and our, for the moment, absent Don O'Neill. And with that, we are going to start our interview. I want to welcome everybody again to the Labor Forum. And today we have with us Randy Beall.
Hey, Diane.
Hi. Who is with the Building and Construction Trades Council. And it was really Randy's idea about doing the fourth Monday and highlighting one of the unions that are actually building everything around us that we see as we're driving around Atlanta. And so we want to really thank him for this opportunity because it made it possible for us here at the Labor Forum to really offer information to you, the listeners, that might get you a really good union job. Mm-hmm. And then we have with us today Kristinia Smith, and Kristi is with a youth build project, and she is really now the director of this new pre-application process that has its own name. We'll get into that. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right. Okay, so let's start by just saying what kind of trades are in the Building and Construction Trades Council? Who do you represent, Randy Beall?
So, electrical, sheet metal, plumbers, pipe fitters, roofers, millwrights, insulators, I'm going to miss some, operating engineers, iron workers. There's about 3 different iron workers. Laborers union, thank you.
Painters, did you say painters?
Painters and glazers. That's pretty much about it. There may be a few more. Bricklayers, plasterers.
Cement wafers.
They're in there with the plasters. So there's 14 total construction trades within the building trades. We have 19 local union affiliates. They do stretch over into Tennessee and South Carolina as well.
All right, so this really represents probably some of the earliest workers who were unionized. I know that everybody who's come on here has probably pretty much said that their union, their local, is 100+ years old. So this was the crafts people, back in the day, who organized to get decent wages, pensions, safety on the job, et cetera, et cetera.
Correct. Yeah, the IBEW 613 celebrated 100 years anniversary just last year. But you might get an argument if you ask who the oldest is. But they date back some into the late 1800s. So organized labor from a construction standpoint has been around for a long time.
And of course on this program we are now oftentimes having some of the newest groups of workers who are taking advantage of the idea that collectively bargaining will get them more than trying to stand up to a boss alone. So we've had many workers from the gig economy, Uber and Lyft drivers, fast food workers. We just last week or the week before had the Rush Center workers, which is this community space, LGBTQ
nonprofit. Yeah.
Their workers are unionized now.
Wow.
Big victory. All right, so the reason we have you on today, though, and we have Kristi here, is because there's kind of a new development that the Building Trades Council here in Atlanta has now become the first to partner with this Department of Labor funding to do.
Yeah, so let me explain a little bit.
Do that before I screw it up.
No, you're doing fine. You're doing fine. Doing great. Again, just thank you for having us here. And I know you said I was the brainchild of it, but it was actually you and I together that came up with this great idea to have labor in. And I appreciate that. The Building Trades Academy, the Georgia Building Trades Academy was formed by the building trades unions. And the academy was initially began training members in regards to OSHA and first aid.
Tell people what OSHA means.
Oh yeah, occupational safety hazard for the jobs. So they were teaching OSHA 10, which was a required 10-hour course. As things began to change within the construction industry and within the apprenticeships themselves, they began teaching themselves, teaching OSHA themselves. So the academy, the need for the academy and training kind of declined. When I took over in 2016, I developed about a 500-page curriculum talking about the different trades. Took that into the community and to mostly minority, underrepresented groups, and Urban League and other organizations, and taught them about the building trades. They had never seen opportunities like we had, and so it was good to get them to that place where they could find a career. That's where I met Christy, and she was with Atlanta WorkSource at the time, and they were running a youth build program. Taught the class over there, and as things would turn about, that class graduated. I believe there was 20. Is that right?
Actually, 27.
27.
27.
And a few of them did go into the trades, which we're proud of. And so then it came an opportunity where we could pursue this grant under Youth Build ourselves. And Christy got with me, and we did that. And it's going to be a really good thing for people that we can reach out and help and get them into a trade and a career.
All right, so Christy, if you wouldn't mind describing now what it is that this project that you are heading up, which I understand will start in the spring.
Yes, we'll
So
start
let's
around the
start
spring.
from A and go to Z.
Okay, no worries. All right, we're so excited about this program because it focuses on a need in the community. We want to make sure we give all the information out, especially to young people ages 16 to 24, who may not be sure of what kind of career they want to do, and they may not be familiar with the trades or even how to get into the trades, because it's one of those kind of careers that it may not be popular on YouTube or Instagram. However, it is a valuable source of feeding your family, having a skilled trade that a lot of people cannot do, and it's one of the reasons why this program is so important to the Georgia Building Trades Academy. So Youth Build is for young people to be pre-apprentices. That essentially means that you get a pre-training before you get into the trades. Because you might not know if I want to be a bricklayer, I don't know if I want to be an electrician, a sheet metal worker. But this way I get to try out some of the skills and decide which best fits me or yourself. And through that process we practice on soft skills. Being to work on time. What's it like to have, if you have issues, to bring it up to your employer. We also teach the multi-craft core curriculum, which is called MC3, which is recognized by all the building trades. So you kind of have a leg up when you start applying for these apprenticeships. And the best part about it is, since it's under the building trades, we have connections to the 19 affiliates, and that it provides a smoother transition when you're trying to figure out how to enter these trade unions. So we get that first-hand knowledge. All
right, so I saw the article in the paper that announced that the grant had been granted. So talk to us about when it really starts and how it works, how it's going to work.
Okay, so we're looking to start our program in April. It is a competition to get into the program, meaning that we understand that we have a limited amount of people that we can serve. Our first round of participants will be 32. It's actually an opportunity for young people to come in and show us what they've got, because we can understand that this is going to be very rigorous. It's going to be very intense, especially we're a 9-month program, and we're going to be teaching you a lot. Some people may not have their GED or high school diplomas when they come in. We try to make sure they get their GED, because it's one of the entrance exam. It's one of the things that's necessary to get into some of the trades, depending on what they want to get into. After the competition, and we basically keep it really open. So I don't want you to get too riled up. It's like, oh, it's a competition. But it's things like being on time. How well do you work with others? What about problem solving? How well do you solve problems? Because these are some of the things that you're going to face when you enter the trade unions or any type of work environment. And our job is to, during this phase of the competition, which we call mental toughness, is to provide you the tools on how to problem solve, how to be on time, and see how well you're learning. Because through this 9-month program, once we get started, it'll be Monday through Friday from 9 to 3. And during this 9-month program, you will get hands-on training, and that's so important because you can go to a lot of different programs and you'll be sitting in a book all day, but when do you get the chance to really get your hands dirty and learn something with your hands and be creative and not have to sit at a desk all day? And that's one of the things that we pride ourselves in when we talk about Youth Build.
So, Randy, can you explain the relationship between what Kristi just said and how people will get actual jobs in the trades?
Yeah, sure. So, keep in mind that the Youth Build grant is run under the direction and control of the Georgia Building Trades Academy, which is ran by essentially the building trades. I'm the business manager, FST of the building trades. I'm also the president and chairman of the Building Trades Academy. So we have, obviously all the apprenticeships at our disposal. We have great connections to get jobs and to get apprenticeship placement. Those are the key essentials. And actually that's where most people fall by the wayside, is when they don't have that direct link in getting in. And so I really believe that's why we'll be so successful, because we do have that link.
So, Kristi, that's what you were saying in terms of having those connections. That what would the advantage be to someone if they've already gone through the pre-apprenticeship program?
The advantage is that a lot of the trainers are former retirees of some of these trade unions, and being trained by someone who's actually had the real experience is so valuable and makes you more marketable when you start entering into these apprenticeships. And one of the things I know for myself, working with young people for a long time, is that you feel like you may not be worthy enough, or you may not have the skill set to enter. This is where it's very valuable for our program, because we've had people in the industry who know the work and can provide them a smooth pathway.
And can you talk about yourself as a role model for young women of color, what that would mean?
Oh, I love working with young people ages 16 to 24. As a person of color and a female at that, I find out that we're underrepresented in the trade unions, and a lot of it is because we don't have people that look like us or represented, or that we see, and we don't know that it was a viable actual career. I was telling Randy not too long ago, when I went to school, no one mentioned that you can go into the trades. It was like, go to college, just go to college. And we're like, what do we go to college for? I'm not quite sure. And you'll find out what you want to be. Meanwhile, you see other people who are in wood shop and they're working with their hands and they're building things. I've realized myself that when I need someone to fix something for me, or come in and I need a specialized skilled worker, they're making more than I did, and I went to college. And a lot of that is because the information needs to get out into the community. And my job specifically is to provide information, to make people comfortable, to make people aware of the type of program that we have, and hopefully they'll be comfortable and want to sign up, and we can get more people of color, more women, and into the trades. A lot of women do not get into the trades because it seems like it's typical, might be a man's type of job, but those are some of the things that they just see on TV and not understand that sometimes everything on TV is not reality.
That's right.
Let me add something too. So we're making the program a little bit different than all the other Youth Build programs, and they've been successful, and we want them to be successful. All of us need to be successful. So what we're going to do is, we bring the students in after we have an education manager that is full-time employee. We'll help them get their GEDs and do those things. And then the mental toughness and how to interview and all of those soft skills. But in the area of training, the typical Youth Build is a carpentry-based deal. So they'll teach them carpentry. Nothing wrong with that, but it doesn't always translate to every trade. So what we're designing our model around is we're going to spend a week at a time at different trade unions, 3 to 4 with each cohort, and let them experience what it's like to be in the sheet metal apprenticeship, what it's like to be in the plumbers and pipe fitters, what is it like to be in the electrical. They will go there and stay the whole day, which I think will be valuable. Their instructors will tell them. We're also putting in a welding center at our location, which I think is going to be groundbreaking, because we all know that the country is going to be in much need of highly skilled welders moving forward. There's tens of thousands of openings, and those are very well-paying jobs in the mid-30s and $40 an hour. So, we need more people in those jobs. So I look forward to, we're trying to build something, Kristi and I, that is different than everybody else, but is certainly has the chance to be a lot more successful too from that perspective.
So I have a question, because the beginning age is 16. So is that why you're talking about people who maybe have stopped going to high school and therefore don't have a diploma and do need to get their GED to be able to go further?
Yes, one of the reasons why the Department of Labor put this type of grant out is that there is a lot of youth from 16 to 17, around that, to 18, around that age, who are dropping out of school, or if they finish school and they're just a little lost and not quite sure what they want to do. And this gap in employment also is a decline in funds for our government. And it's a lot of times that young people are just not sure what they want to do. I think everybody wants to feel important as a young person. You want to make sure that you fit the mold, but typical school may not fit for everyone. And it doesn't mean they're not learning. It just means they may not learn the same way as everyone else, or they're totally bored and they just want to get up and move and do something with their hands and create something instead of sitting in a classroom all day for 4 or 5 hours, and you're just sitting there from bell to bell. And I think education, it will be great for them to incorporate some of these things, but however, Youth Beall is that program for those people who want something different than regular school. This is a training. This is where you used to have back in the day that you would actually learn something. So it's one of the things that we want to make sure that we keep up.
Well, I know I can speak a little bit. I was an auto worker, and when I started in 1976, there were relatively few women on the assembly lines, and the place was mostly male, and they weren't really very excited about women being there, but there was a union, and I therefore had backing. And it is true that any job that involves manual, kind of, whether you're drilling or shooting screws or installing things or putting in glass or working with some form of equipment, it's probably maybe something you hadn't done before. But by the time I retired, 30 years later, probably close to half the workforce was women. When I started, there were relatively few people of color. By the time I left, it was mostly half. And when I started, there certainly wasn't any kind of acknowledgement that anybody could be LGBTQ and be in an auto plant. But not by the time I left. We were a very diverse workforce, and what it showed to me, among many other things, was that people of all different kinds of backgrounds have the capacity to do a job that maybe you thought that you yourself couldn't do or they couldn't do. Mm-hmm. And all of us who were the ones who had not been there in any numbers before, proved that to any worker who maybe thought that wasn't the case. Mm-hmm. And so I just want to encourage, if there is somebody out there listening who thinks, I'm too short, I'm too thin, I'm the wrong gender, I'm the wrong color, they're not gonna welcome me, I'm not gonna be able to do it, you gotta try. You truly gotta try, because being in a unionized workplace with safety, decent wages, pension, health care, vacation, makes all the difference in the world once you reach a retirement age, and that you actually can retire and not go from part-time job, this low wage job, your whole life till you die.
And you don't also have to spend 4 years in school. You can spend 9 months, 9 months, and get trained.
And not have student debt.
And not have student debt.
Diane is talking about, I don't know if you can see my jacket here, but I wear this a lot, and it signifies the women's conference that NAB2 has every year. And NAB2 is North America's Building Trades Unions. It is the single largest conference that NAB2 puts on in a given year. Last year there was 3,000 women in attendance at this conference. So yes, and that's just the ones that were afforded the opportunity to travel. So that doesn't make up all that's in the trades. But my sister-in-law is a sheet metal worker. She's probably 5 foot tall. So anybody, I'm not much taller than that. So anybody can do it. And this program will be a great way to springboard into those trades.
All right, so let's go a little bit. Okay, so now somebody is gone through the 9 months. Now what?
Now
It's
what?
like 9 months and the baby is born. Now what? Time to deliver something.
Well, so as they get a little closer to the end of that 9 months, first thing we'll do is put them to work with a union contractor as an internship. That's number one.
That's great.
And they will get an opportunity to try before you buy, so to speak. But and you know we want 100% success on that. But I know that's step one, and you go ahead and finish the rest of it.
Yeah, so during that step, we'll have a case manager that will also help along the way to help with any issues. Say, for instance, a person may have had some issues being to work on time, or had some issues interacting with staff. There's someone there to coach them along the way as far as different conflict resolutions. Also, we have job developers. We actually have 2 that also will assist during that internship, and then also into placement into which trade union they decide to go. So they're not on their own, because when you graduate from high school, that's it. They tell you bye, see you later. Not our program. Once you do your internship, you get into your apprenticeship, I'm still going to be with you 12 months later, checking on you to make sure how is everything going.
Right.
Did you get your paycheck started up? Are you saving for a car? And just making sure those life skills are still reiterated, so it's not like, oh, once you're finished, we're not going to talk to you anymore. We support you along the way because we want you to be successful. And I think anybody who is successful has people helping them along the way.
That's true.
So I have a question, because one of the issues in Atlanta is transportation. And I know you're going to say that there are certain zip codes that you're particularly looking for people to apply. So how is it that the program, or can the program assist, especially if somebody is 16, may not have a car, may not even have a driver's license, how are they supposed to get to wherever this is going to take place?
Okay. One of the things that we do offer in our program is if there is a hardship to at least get to our program every day, is that we would offer transportation on a need basis, just to make sure you're able to get back and forth, and then finding your way and making sure that you're on time is one of the most important things that the trades always wants to make sure is first. Are you on time? And you need to know where you're going. So we want to make sure that we provide that need for those who need it. And also those who may be 16 or 17. Again, this is a pre-training. So those who are very successful, they can continue working on those internships until it's time for them to actually come of age. And then they can enter an apprenticeship when they turn 18.
And so, Diane, it goes beyond that with transportation to come to the program. We can facilitate that through different relationships. The academy will have a van, yada yada yada. So we can make those things happen. But where the difficulty always is when they graduate. And you know, public transportation is not a mode for transportation in the construction industry. You may have to move job to job. You might have to be wherever one day and the other. And I've been working on something with another partner of ours, United Way, and we're really close to getting this done. And that is a program called Wheels for Work, and a meeting with a car dealer next week. And my goal is to get car dealers to donate one car, not a new car. They're not going to do that. But we'll take it if you want to give it to us. But that car that you would wholesale, and they have a way to take that car and get some work done on it, and yada yada yada. But we want to give that to our students who excel and achieve and want to go to work and want to do the right thing.
Wow.
And I think we can get that done as a group. I think there's enough people out there that care that we can make that happen. And so that's the problem I'm trying to solve before we get to the problem.
All right, so you said this was going to start in April.
Yes,
All right, so we're in application time.
we're in the application.
Let's talk about what's on that application and how do they get it.
So some of the information you may need to know is that there's certain zip codes that we want to make sure that we get information to. That is zip code 30310, 30311, 30313, 30314, 30315, 30318, 30331, 30344, and 30354. I know that's a lot of zip codes, so
If you heard yours, you know it.
Well, and I do want to say and talk about how we can take in
So-
people outside of those zip codes.
yes, and we can take people outside of those zip codes. So the best thing to do is make sure you're listening to the zip codes that I was just speaking about, and give us. You can actually give you information for our phone number if you would like to call us. That number is 404-584-0005. The application process is very simple. Basically, it asks you for your name, your telephone number, your age. It will also ask if you're receiving any public assistance, and also if you are homeless, low income, been incarcerated, or a child of incarcerated parents. Those are some of our eligibility options. Or if you are graduated high school and you're not employed and not in school, that's an eligibility for our program as well.
In other words, you're the special person that this program is for.
Yes.
If those things are part of your life.
Yes. And so it's our job to make sure that we assist you in every way. Don't be afraid of filling out the application. People will be there to assist you if there's any questions. And trust me, I try to keep everything very simple because what we don't want to do is create additional barrier for anyone who's interested.
Let me ask about language. Atlanta's a very multicultural place, and there could be people for whom English is not their first language. How do you deal with that?
Actually, I haven't had that yet. However,
Well, let me address that. So the biggest problem, it wouldn't be necessarily the program, although the program is done in English. We could probably figure out a way to facilitate that in Spanish. The problem would be when they get to the apprenticeships. So not many of those have the ability to do it in other languages. So what I would say is if we have a good number of people that want to do that, I would look at structuring through the academy ESL class. And let's teach them English, because the main thing is not just get through our program. The purpose is to get them into apprenticeship and get them through apprenticeship. And if they have very little language, English language, they're not going to make it, and that's not the goal. So I would want to set up an ESL, Diane, if that came to be it. But you're right, we are a very diverse city, and that's something that if we get we want you to call in, and we want you to get in touch with us, and if you want to be a part of this program, and we'll figure that piece out.
Well, it's very obvious when you drive around the city that there are thousands of Spanish-speaking in particular, but also people from Asian backgrounds, etc., who are doing all kinds of maintenance work and construction work and repair and building work.
Sure.
And so I know that the program can't be everything for everybody all at once, but very clearly this is a question of if we're going to build a union movement in Atlanta, we've got to have the capacity to figure out how every worker can have an opportunity to be in a union.
Absolutely.
All right. So we've talked about the application, but we haven't talked about, so that you fill it all over the phone?
no, you don't fill it over the phone. You can come at our office. We'll have the application, so everyone could fill it out. And once you fill out the application, we invite you to our mental toughness, which is the competition for the program. We're looking to have at least 60 or 70 people come out. We will pick 32 out of that group that will move on to the first round of the competition, which is the first year, and then they will go through the program, and then we will do this again next year. another 32, and we'll do the same thing over and over again. But once they get accepted, they will receive a letter of acceptance like you would at any training program that you've been officially accepted. And then you will sign an agreement that basically says, I'm dedicated to this program, I'm willing to put in the work and the effort, and then our job is to hold you to it. And then we give you the support that you need to get through the program. And so understand that since it's an accelerated program, it's 9 months, you move very quickly. Life changes very quickly, and it's nice to have someone who has your back, like one of the case managers who can help facilitate any type of issues that you're having, or our education manager if you need some extra training, and even our job developers if you need a part-time job when you're going through our program is from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. so that still gives a young person time to go to work and make extra money on the side.
So where is this all taking place, the training, or is that a secret?
No. Our training will be,
You have to have a code and knock on the door.
the training will be in the IBEW building located at 501 Pulliam Street, Suite 404. All you have to do is come down if you're interested and you want more information, and fill out the application, and we'll go from there.
I have a question about, looking at this list of trades, I'm thinking math must be a common denominator for measuring things, and will there be, in terms of like a GED kind of approach, will there be some tutoring?
I have the best math teacher ever. Our educational manager actually that's his specialty, math. He teaches math in a way that I've watched him, and the students are like, well, why didn't they just say that in the first place? Young people who are scared, like terrified of math. One of his first tests he makes students go take if they need their GED is the math, and they've always passed it. And he's a genius in the way he's able to interpret for each different person their needs on how they explain fractions, decimals, measurements, and those are the usually ones that when young people come in they're a little confused with.
And the advantage I'm seeing with this being on the job is that you can see how to apply it. It's not just some theory.
It will be hands-on. So not only will the education manager teach the math, it will go along with the construction manager that we have, who will be teaching the same thing, except for it'll be hands-on. So it starts to mirror each other.
The MC3 curricula, the multi-curricula that NAB2 has, North American Building Trades, so it has a big math section in it as well, because we know math is often a hurdle, but I always tell people, like, sheet metal has trigonometry, and that's what trade I'm from. You're looking at somebody that couldn't pass algebra, right? But I made it through trigonometry and sheet metal only because it's applied mathematics. I could understand it when you laid it out on metal. I could understand why X and Y equaled whatever, but don't give me a math problem and ask me to do it. I can't do it, but I can lay out a piece of sheet metal. So I tell that story to every student I've been in front of because they're afraid of it, but when you see it, you can do it. There's a difference.
I had another question about soft skills that you mentioned in terms of this is a union context, and we're in the South, and so many people have grown up. Even in established unions, we have to constantly do education about your rights. So how in terms of the problem solving, will you talk about, yes, you do have a right to do this and that. If something is unsafe, you do have a right.
It's in the MC3.
It's in the MC3.
One of the very first parts of the MC3 is to talk about your right to organize, your right to have a voice, and what stewards do, and all those roles, and what does your business representative do, and what does your manager do,
And what is a contract?
and what is a contract,
And
what
what's in it?
what is a union, right? And so all those things, and you add to it if you want. I mean, it's
Yes, and so we make sure that when we're doing these soft skills that we strengthen the young person's knowledge and delivery. I think a delivery has a lot to do with it, not coming from an emotional aspect, but from an educational aspect. Because sometimes a young person feels like if I'm the loudest, then people will hear me. Well, sometimes you need to just make a phone call, and it depends on what the issue is, and it could be solved right then and there. And so that's our job to kind of.
And if management knows that you know,
Yes.
they'll back off.
Right, they'll back off.
Exactly.
All right. So when we were discussing out in the lobby, Randy, you said that as far as you knew, this was the only program that was partnered with a building trades council, with a union. So could we discuss a little bit why that would be? Because it would seem pretty logical. I know, I read in the newspaper, and I see things on television that a lot of the education systems, they're now figuring out ways to have more building trades or more things in their curriculum. There's for-profit entities that are now, really encouraging people to spend a bunch of money to learn how to be, X, Y, and Z. So why is it, in your opinion, and it's just an opinion, that either the building trades councils elsewhere have not taken this step, or has there been obstacles put in place by governmental entities for building trades to have this, this is a big organizing and strengthening of the unions to be where the Atlanta building trades is.
Right, and so according, I was with NAB2 last week, the Building Trades Unions of National, and they did tell me, the Director of Education said we'd be the first program to have a youth build program. So why is that? And I thought to ask kind of myself the same question, but keep in mind, we didn't have it either until the person sitting to my left, Christy, called. And let me first say that, yes, there are barriers. I don't think there are necessarily friends at necessarily the government level that likes it when unions get progressive and get a hold of things that would necessarily help people that maybe they're not interested in helping, right? But I think that's one thing. I think the bigger thing is that it's a huge undertaking. It's a big deal. And so, I've always lived by the philosophy, you surround yourself with the most competent and best people you can find and you'll be successful. That's why I have Christy and her team. And so, we've hired some very, very good people who love kids, who love young people. That's because they're young people. And you gotta love them, number one. If you don't, there's no sense in being in this business. Number two, you gotta want to help them even when they don't want to be helped sometimes.
Absolutely.
And if you've got those qualities, then you can make it work. But there is no time for me to run it. I can oversee it, but you've got to have that team that makes it happen, and I've got it. I've got the best team Youth Build could buy, right?
Yeah.
And so I really believe it's a part of the government. I believe it's a part of the undertaking of a large project.
Great.
All right, so we only have a couple minutes left, amazingly enough. So let's do all the, how you get in touch, all the Facebook page, the telephone numbers, all that kind of stuff. And we'll repeat it a couple times in case you're out there listening. Many of you might be driving, so don't take this down. But do know that you can go to their website and the other things to get this information. So say it slow, but say it all.
We're located in the IBEW building, downtown. That address is 501 Pulliam Street.
That's the building that used to have a big peach on
Yes,
the top,
it did.
across from what was Turner Field.
That's right.
And we're located on the 4th floor. That telephone number is 404-584-0005. Again, that's 404-584-0005.
And you can call from what hour to what hour?
We're open from 8 to 5.
8:30 to 5.
8:30 to 5.
Yep.
8:30 to 5.
And you have an answering machine?
Yes,
do.
we have an answering machine, so please leave a message. Make sure you speak slowly and leave your name and your phone number, and we will be sure to call you back.
And the timeline in terms of applying and how this all leads up to April.
So our application is actually open now. If anyone is interested, give us a call. We can give you the application, and you can go ahead and get started and prepare for March. And we'd like to let people know what to expect during that time. And start programming sometime beginning of April, early May.
Okay, so to repeat what you said, you're gonna accept up to 60 applications, and then you're gonna have a, you use the
We
word
call it
competition,
mental toughness competition.
and come down to a final 32. And those 32 will start when, exactly?
They'll start on the last week of April, beginning of May, and they'll start the program.
And that'll go from 9 months.
9 months. And then I understand some people might say, oh, I think I can do it quicker. I don't want to hold anyone back. So if you get your GED or you're moving fast, we go ahead and move you as fast as you're going. So if you finish your MC3 certification and you've been working on the projects, you did your internship, we're not going to hold you to 9 months and then say, oh, now you can do something.
So if someone is currently a high school student, they would have to graduate and then do it the following. How would that work?
So if you're a high school student now, you would have to have a recommendation from your counselor.
Okay.
And usually those recommendations are for those students who are not on track, but who they believe that an alternate mode of education will help them get their GED.
Okay.
So listen to that now. Go to your counselor if you feel like you may not be on track, and your counselor agrees with you that they can write a letter on your behalf to be in the Youth Build program.
Can you say now, though, that you're anticipating this will be every year going forward? Or
Oh yes, I believe
Okay.
that this program is going to be very successful. I think the model that we put in place actually helps people, and it's very intentional to be successful, and we have room to adjust.
And after the first 32 graduates, we take in another 32. So we have 60. We're charged with 64
Okay.
over a 3-year period.
3-year period.
3-year period,
Okay.
and then 1 year of keeping up with them and
That's the
watching.
grant.
Support, yeah.
That's
Yes,
the grant.
that's
Yeah,
the
grant's 40 months. So
All right, well, I hope that there's somebody out there who just said, this is.
This has my name on it.
This has my name on it, as opposed to, this is my cup of tea. Yeah.
One person already called.
And one person
You want
already
information?
called. All right now. Listeners, I hope you have taken down this information, and if it isn't for you, share it with somebody that you think might have use for this. This really is the purpose of this particular Fourth Monday program, is to make sure that everybody knows that they've got this opportunity if they want to take it.
Okay.
So I want to thank our guests, Randy Beall of
Thank
the
you.
Building and Construction Trades Council, Kristi Smith, who's with this new program of Youth Build. And of course, thank you, Paul, and Ozzy has been taping, and thank you.
Family
Yes.
man.
Thank you so much, Calvin, and we will be back again next Monday with what we don't know, but I'm sure it's going to be wonderful.